Kami daripada H4P3 membentangkan tentang tajuk biodiversity.
Saya arthropods. Bye-bye.
Cnidarian, black nematode, animalia, mollusca, arthropoda, echinoderma, chordata.
The sponges. They had existed for millions of years, establishing the way cells interact to build an animal. This first step was a vital one for the creation of all the animals that followed.
Sponges invented cell types, and sponges invented the ability of cells to collaborate. Sponges learned how to become multicellular, how to produce different kinds of cells and the ability for those cells to talk to each other. Sponges really don't have tissues, and sponges don't have the ability to move and to do the kinds of things we associate with animals.
Itu porifera, badan tak ada organ, hanya ada sel. They are colonial and multicellular, adanya porocytes dan osculum. Ada amebocytes untuk secret spicule, ada zoonocytes untuk draws water, juga hermaphrodites and they are sessile. Sponges are marine single cavity.
Building on the cellular framework established by sponges, flower-like cnidarians were the first animals to develop the revolutionary ability to move.
They invented tissues. They invented a mouth, they invented nerves, they invented muscles, they invented the ability to move, to do all the things that we think of as animal things.
Blastostyle, medusa, ovary, testis, sperm, egg, zygote to cell stage, blastula, planula, it will fall to form polyp.
Cnidarians were the first animals to have muscles and a nervous system, and they may have been the first to actually move on their own. But they never found a way to move out of the water. Life began to evolve in dramatic new ways with the appearance of flatworm-like animals. This was the first creature to embody the genetic blueprint of a hunter, complete with a head and a primitive brain set near sensory organs. Once this basic blueprint became established, innumerable variations followed. But reaching a critical threshold of genetic complexity was only part of what triggered the Cambrian explosion. Flatworms are hermaphroditic. They have both male and female sex organs. In fact, the first hunter was also the first animal with an internal system to deliver sperm to an egg.
Lepihementer, cacing pipih, cacing pita, triploblasty, bilateral, unsegmented, no cavity, solid body, no circulatory system, gases exchange by diffusion.
Ancestors of this flatworm were the first animals with heads, primitive brains, and stereo senses. Flatworms can glide along a mucus carpet, leaving a slimy trail, but they don't have legs.
Animals were evolving, they were small, but something changed ecologically. Perhaps the oxygen levels arose. And the result of that was that animals could become larger. A third possibility for why the Cambrian explosion happened is that it was an arms race, that some animals learned to become predators. They began to eat other animals. And as soon as that happened, of course, now the arms race begins, because there's an advantage to avoid being eaten, and there's an advantage to eating. So an arms race begins, an arms race that hasn't ended yet in the animal kingdom. This is still driving evolution even now. And I think it's likely, in fact, that all of these explanations probably reflect some part of that truth of what happened to make the Cambrian explosion.
What may be most astounding about the Cambrian explosion's fossil record is what we can see mirrored in it. Today, almost every creature on Earth can be traced back to the animals that left these imprints. Even though the species that appeared during the Cambrian explosion are extinct, some animals today bear an uncanny resemblance to them.
Annelida, bentuknya bulat, badan segmented, tekanan bendalanya sangat kuat. Atau silomen, ianya juga eumatozoa, juga tripoblastik, juga protostom, bilateral symmetry, ada mulut dan juga ada anus. Setak terpisah, peredaran darah tertutup, next generasi bernafas. Mereka juga metamerism. Nematod, cacing gelang, badan tak ada segmen. Hydrostatic, pseudocelum, ada mulut, ada anus. Tripoblastik, bilateral, satu jantan, satu betina. Tak ada darah, tak ada respiration, tak ada respiration.
Next door burrows. They're looking for partners. Like slugs, they're hermaphrodite, each individual both male and female. They mate by lying alongside one another. Two narrow grooves form between their two bodies. These are the conduits that carry sperm from one partner to the other. Their bodies slowly pulse as sperm travels along the space between them. But the process is a long one, and it may be 3 hours or so before they separate, each carrying the other's sperm. This is one of their egg cocoons, and it's enormous. If I hold it up against the light, I can see the young worm inside wriggling. It'll take a year for this to develop. And when the young one finally does break free, it's already 20 centimeters long. Huge. It will take a further 5 years to reach full size and become this remarkable creature. So the question is, how long is a giant earthworm? Well, it's not an easy question to answer. The fact of the matter is, they're rather delicate creatures, and they break. If I was so unfeeling as to try and stretch it, well, I guess it might stretch to a couple of meters, almost 6 feet long.
The group called mollusks dwells both in the sea and on land today. But they move on a single foot, which doesn't leave trackways like those Brady studies.
Mollusca have 3 classes, 3 classes, 3 classes. Gastropoda, bivalves, cephalopoda. Trachoblastic celomes, bilateral symmetry. Basins are not bilateral, their body twisted. They have shell with muscular foot, oviparous. Oviparous means that they lay eggs that hatch outside mother. Body are soft and fleshy, soft fleshy, soft fleshy. Have muscular foot, dorsal visceral heart.
He believes that of all the likely suspects, the very first pioneers to overcome the new conditions, the first land conquerors, took to the land like the little pill bugs of today. The first animal had arrived on land. Creatures present in the ancient sea, only one group had legs capable of making the fossilized tracks. They're called arthropods. And one of the secrets of their success, jointed legs. Legs which can bend about a hinged joint, provide great stability and shock absorption. Perfect features for an all-terrain vehicle. With their many joints, each leg has tremendous flexibility. Tendons attached to powerful muscles produce a range of motion help guide them through their world, arthropods developed a package of onboard sensors, appendages like antennas, and the first complex eyes capable of perceiving sharp images. But most importantly, their legs and body segments could easily adapt to almost any new opportunity. A small evolutionary push turns a walking leg into a grasping claw. Take the segmented swimming tail of the lobster, tuck it underneath, and you've got a sand-burrowing crab.
Filum arthropods, triploblastic, cell made bilateral, symmetry, jointed appendages, stigmata, hard exoskeleton, open blood system, metamorphosis, Malpighian tubule, excretory, ada trachea, book, lungs, bernafas, gills juga berfungsi.
Incredibly edible abalone to the tastiest of worms. Its victims are overpowered by thousands of wrestling tube feet. But sea stars have other weapons.
Mereka tripoblastik juga silomet, radial symmetry tapi unsegmented, tiada kepala, endoskeleton, ada kulit, spiny, mulut, anus ada, echinodermata, ada banyak tube feed guna untuk feeding serta locomotion. Water muscular system itu sangat unik, excretory organ mereka tiada.
Sea cucumber is about to put on what looks like one of the most magnificent Las Vegas-style reviews you'll ever see on the ocean floor off the coast of Maryland. But first, the sea cuc, looking like an underwater hedgehog, has to ground itself, burrow itself into the ocean floor. Now, you don't want to sit on the ocean floor for hours watching the sea cuc do this, so we'll use time-lapse photography to accomplish this feat in just a few seconds. Now it's dug in, and it's time for the show to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together for that sensuous sensation, that alluring aquatic attraction, that fascinating feather flinger of the ocean floor, the magnificent sea cucumber. This exotic forest of feathery tentacles filters food from the tide. And then, one by one, with a high-style flourish, the sea cucumber gently sucks each tentacle clean. Tentacle to mouth, tentacle to mouth, tentacle to mouth. And the show goes on until the sea cuc senses danger of an incoming predator. And then its guy folks see you by, the sea cuc has left the arena.
Are you knowing, chordata, chordata, under animalia, only vertebrata, chordata, chordata, have no top cord, dorsal hollow nerve cord, pharyngeal slits, post-anal tail, anus dekat belakang, mulut dekat depan, chordata, chordata. Amphibia, Australia, and mammalia. There are the 6 classes, chordata.